Hello, this is Phil, Linux Mint Forum member, PhD 21. One of the questions that has come up off and on is how to install plugins for the GIMP image, the Linux GIMP image editor. Obviously, I'm using Linux, and there are 4 wonderful editions of Linux Mint: Cinnamon, Mate, XFCE, and KDE. Although the Linux Mint developers decided to stop creating their KDE version, you can still install the KDE desktop into one of the other versions. At the moment, I happen to be in Linux KDE Neon, which is very much like Linux Mint, to create this tutorial. But one of the members who's using Linux Mint 18.3, which is based on Ubuntu 16.04, wants to use the newer version of GIMP 2.10, which is a really awesome new version of the GIMP image editor. And in order to do that, he decided to use the app image, which is just a different option for installing software. It's there are various versions of installation options for Linux Mint and Linux in general. One of which is called an app image, which is what I call self-contained files, where all supporting software needed to run that application are included in one file. There's also Flatpak and Snap packages. But the app image will work on older versions of Linux, whereas the other options will not. Now, GIMP 2.10 was designed for and created in newer versions of Linux, like Linux Mint 19, which is based on Ubuntu 18.04. But using the app image, you could still run it even on the older versions. And now, GIMP 2.10 is available in the Linux Mint 19 software manager, or Synaptic Package Manager, what they call the Linux Mint software repositories. But you might be able to get a newer version by using the app image even in Linux Mint 19. Anyway, there are some really popular plugins, add-ons, plugins for the GIMP image editor, and one of which is called the resynthesizer. And it's a suite of various image editing plugins, and I think it's available through the software manager, Synaptic Package Manager of Linux Mint 19, but it is not, obviously, for the earlier versions. So you have to install it manually. And I took the resynthesizer plugins and another one that's difficult to install usually, called lensfun, and I created an archive, which is a compressed file with all the plugins in them, and I linked it on the Linux Mint Forum website, so anybody could download that and install it that way. And I gave instructions, for doing that, but apparently the user was having a little difficulty understanding that, so I decided I'll create a quick video tutorial to show how easy that is. Anyway, I'll put a link to the Linux Mint forum post on YouTube where I post my videos. So if you go to my Linux Mint forum post and you scroll down, you'll see where I've added an archive file for the 2.10.9 plugin. It's for version GIMP version 2.10, whether it's 0.9 or whatever. And all you have to do is click that and save it to your downloads folder. It's a small file, so it's pretty quick. Now this is assuming you've already installed GIMP, either using the app image. And for anybody who hasn't already done that, it's pretty simple. If you go to Google search or any search engine, you type in GIMP app image and hit enter, one of the very first entries that should pop up is it says releases, A for Arrow, GIMP app image, and you just click that. And this person has been kind enough to package the superb GIMP image editor in the app image format, which makes it really easy for people using Linux to use this newer version of GIMP. If you go to this, you'll see that there's a whole bunch of different versions, and they're all by date of these app images. If you scroll down, you want to pick the newest version, obviously, and with plugins. And although this version does include one of the resynthesizer plugins, it doesn't include all of them. But anyway, so what you would do is you would click on the newest one, and the newest GIMP app image as of right now, January 24th, 2019, is 2.10.9 with plugins, and it's from 12/27/2018. And you would just click that, and you would save. You want to save that to your downloads folder. You click download. I've already done that. All app images programs like I said, are self-contained software packages, and once you've downloaded it, if you bring up your file manager and you go to your downloads folder and you scroll to where you've downloaded the files, okay, in this case, there's the app image file. It's very simple. You just right click it. You have to make sure you can run it. So you just right click it. You have permission to run it, because in Linux everything it's a very secure operating system. It's not going to let you run something unless you say it's okay to run it. But you can just right click it, click properties, then click the permission tab, and make sure it says is executable and that you can view and modify it. And all you have to do is check it and click OK. Then you can double click it and run it. Now, personally, I think it's a good idea. I mean, you can run it from the downloads folder if you want to. I have created another folder underneath my home folder, which is where you have all your main folders, and I call it apps for applications. And I copy every software, and I have a lot of software that's not installed through the typical Linux Mint software repositories, the software manager or Synaptic Package Manager, or through downloaded deb files. So I copy anything I download that any software that I download that's installed in a different way, like app images and stuff like that, or Java programs, and I copy them into this folder. But you can run it from your downloads folder. That's up to you. Anyway, once you've given yourself permission to run it, you can just double click it and it'll come up, and it'll either just start, or if the developers were kind enough to build in an installation option, then it will integrate it into your menus. It'll add a menu entry and or desktop entry. And in this case, the GIMP app image does have that. So it comes up and says, would you like to integrate this with your system? You can say no or yes. Either way, it's still going to run. I don't want to do that at the moment. There's also there's an application to help people on using app images called the App Image Launcher, which people can install. And for applications that don't have their own built-in installation option, that will add menu entries and stuff like that. But anyway, GIMP does. And now it's, because I said no, it's asking, do I want to disable it, asking me if I want to install it the next time I run it, and I'm just going to say no. Then it comes up. And there's the GIMP app image interface. And it's an advanced image editor. Even though a lot of what you can do with it is very easy to do, it can do a lot more than your basic image editor can. So, and this is version 2.10.9, and it's from the app image. Alright, now how do you install plugins for GIMP? Well, first you have to get the plugins, and there are different places to get them. Some of the plugins actually are a pain and may require compiling it, which most people don't even know how to do and don't want to do, which is one of the reasons why I created this archive file with the already compiled versions of resynthesizer and lensfun, so anybody can just click on that and download it. And I've already downloaded that, so it's in my downloads folder. Now all you have to do, because it's an archive file, you want to extract it. So you right click that, you look for your option for extract, and you can select either extract here, or in KDE you got another option, extract here, auto detect subfolder. So you select that. Either way, it's going to create a folder, a new folder called GIMP 2.10.9 plugins. And inside, if you double click and go into that, you'll see the various plugin programs, and they end in .py because they're Python related. The other ones are actually the actual compiled programs. These have to be copied into the GIMP user configuration folder. Most Linux applications, once you install them and you bring it up and run it for the first time, it will create a new folder underneath your home folder. Linux systems create what they call hidden software configuration folders, and system folders for that matter. And you don't see them, that's why they're called hidden, unless you click the hidden option. And if you click that, you'll notice that all the hidden folders all begin with a period. Now, most of, not all, but most of software applications create a hidden folder underneath the config folder, the .config folder. So if you double click that, you'll see a whole bunch of stuff in there. You want to scroll down to where it says GIMP. Now I have GIMP installed through, in a normal way through the the software manager, Synaptic Package Manager, but I also have the app image. And after running it the first time, it created an app image folder. So if I double click that, it'll have the different version, the version, in this case 2.10, and then all the supporting folders for it, and there's a lot of them. But you obviously, since we're dealing with plugins, you want to go to the plugins folder and double click that. Now you can see I've already copied them in there. But all you have to do is, you go back to, you go down to your downloads folder where you've gotten into the extracted archive file to get, the actual plugins folder, and you want to copy all these programs into that app image hidden app image user configuration plugins folder for GIMP. And it's pretty simple. You can just click. You can just click the first one and then hold down the Shift key and click the last one to highlight them all, or you can click Control A. But once they're all highlighted, you can just right-click Copy, or you can just click Copy in the toolbar. Then click on the folder for your hidden user GIMP app image plugins folder, and click the Paste button, or right-click and paste. Now I've already done this, so it's asking me to to overwrite them. I'm just going to say yes. Okay, and now it's finished. Now, because these are programs, and you're on Linux, you have to give yourself permission to run them. So just like you had to do with the app image file. And again, if they're not all highlighted already, highlight them all. Either I usually just hit Control A. You could also click Edit Select All. Then right click one of the highlighted items, click Properties, go to the Permissions tab, and make sure that you can view and modify the owner. That means the user can view and modify them. I usually pick the group too, and always make sure it says executable. Is it executable? And it is. Click OK. And that's it. Now you can close the file manager, and you can now I'm bringing it back up to show you I'm going to run the app image, the GIMP app image. As soon as I find it, there it is. Okay. Now, if this worked properly, the resynthesizer plugins and lensfun, because I threw that in there too, should show up. So I'm going to pick an image. I'm just going to open an image I used recently. Now, if you click on Filters and Enhance, you should see the filters related to the resynthesizer, and the heal selection is one of them. Heal transparency is one of them. As I pointed out, I also added lensfun. Under the map option, it actually shows the resynthesizer plugin, but as I said, it's a suite of them, and they're all there now. So I can run any of these resynthesizer options now. So that's how simple it was to add how simple it is to add those to copy those plugins into the GIMP file. Now this also works for the regular installed version of GIMP, even if you installed it from the Synaptic Package Manager or the Software Manager. You can still just go to your downloads folder, copy all, select all the GIMP plugins and select copy. Now go into go to your home folder now and select hidden files. Go down to config, .config, double click into that. Go down to GIMP. In this case, it should say just GIMP regular, and it does. Okay. Double click that. Double click 2.10. Go down to plugins, and you just click paste. And again, you would still have to check out the permissions. By right-clicking properties, permissions, make sure it's executable and that you can view and modify it. And that's the same, it's the same process I did for the app image you can do for the regularly installed one. And that would work the same way. So, again, that's how simple it is to copy the plugins for the new version of GIMP. I hope you found that useful, and I hope everybody has a great day.